Good morning, valiant, valiant, noble, luminous, undying, immortal beings. That's you, Narayan. Do you know? I just read that Ramana said that the guru, the self, and God, the guru, the self, and God are all the same. You know, and do you know that all our souls are the same? Does that kind of just lead us then into the next thought that we are all united together, united in love, always have been, always will be. And here we are to uh, go deeper into the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, and look at the nature of our humanness as compared to what I just mentioned. Yeah, Guru God Self, here we are. That's it. Mary and Alex, thank you so much for being here. Denny, Lisa, and Jim, I hope your holy days and holidays are going great, and you're relaxed and you're comfortable and understanding, and maybe just maybe accepting the truth of who you are. Yeah, and making that the only focus that you have in the next year, starting right now. That you are all of this. That you are all of this. Isn't that, whatever's happened to you, and the trauma and the drama that comes from all that, that we still have open wounds around, it ain't you. It ain't you. If there's anyone to blame for all of that, it's God. It's God. It's God in you. So sit back and realize that you are free as a bird right now if you want to be. That you are as close to the infinite as you can be any other time right now. Golly, I just think this, and we have so many Gita streams. I can't believe that we're on chapter 17. But anyway, what a journey it's been, right? To go through and read every word that Yogananda spoke in his commentary to the Bhagavad Gita and absorb it in. Do you know what? I mean, we don't need to know why or what or how. We just need to kind of celebrate a little bit this morning and enjoy the the infinite nature of our beingness. All right. So we are on page 988. We've looked at the verses 2 and 3 of chapter 17, which is all about the three gunas: the tamas, dark; rajas, the active, which usually gets pretty much a lot of ego involved in it; and then the sattvic, which is the spiritual. Last week we looked at shraddha, and this idea that shraddha is the heart's natural love to return to the infinite, just a natural, pure, beautiful you without any kind of tarnish or any kind of ideas about humanness. And it's just pure. And it's a conviction of faith. It's the devotion, and the faith is called Shraddha. All right. And I have a little more to read about that way back on page 50 something of volume one. Yuyudana, one of the Pandus, represents that devotion, that Shraddha. And we're going to read a little more because it's so important. If you so decide to choose your divine nature as you, and all the other stuff, it can't affect me. What's ever happened to me cannot affect me. In terms of the mortal, it cannot affect me. And then just smile and see God smiling with you, and then feel Divine Mother wrapping you in her arms and saying, yeah, exactly, perfect. Yeah, nothing can ever touch you. You are us and us are you. Spirit are us, my dears. All right. So let's just recap a little bit this page 988, if you have your book open, verses 2 and 3, we'll just read them and then we'll get into the heart of the matter. How's that? Or should I say, we'll stay in the heart of the matter. We'll stay there. It's not like get into, which means that we're not there. Let's put it the other way. We never leave the heart. We never leave the Lord because the Lord is us 100%, no matter what you think, what happens to you. We're all going to see when we leave the shores of this incarnation and leave this body behind. And we're going to go, thank you, Lord. Thank you. Somehow you gave me the ways and the means to sit and listen to Yogananda's commentary, and it's affected me so much that I'm just so happy that I can be free, free as a bird. So he's saying, great, now be free where you are right now, right now, right now. There's no difference in this side of the veil or that side of the veil. The blessed Lord said, the natural faith of the embodied is threefold: sattvic, rajas, and tamasic. Hear thou about it, Arjuna. And the next verse 3, Yogananda doesn't have a big commentary on these two verses, the 2 and 3 of chapter 17, page 988 of God Talks to Arjuna, volume 2. The blessed Lord said the natural faith of the embodied is threefold. So we have a choice. We have a choice of three in everything, my dears, in everything. Three, the Holy Trinity, right? You could think of it that way: Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Om Tat Sat. That we have a choice of three in everything. And verse 3 says, the devotion of each man and each woman, your devotion, and no one can judge that, and I really hope you don't, all right? What you think your devotion is, or what lack you feel in your devotion, or whatever. Because you are Shraddha, heart's natural love, ongoing, infinite, right here, right now. The devotion of each man and woman is an agreement with, gosh, the devotion of each man and woman is an agreement, says Krishna, with his and her inborn nature. Inborn nature. That's the human, right? Because we're embodied. It's an agreement with their inborn nature. Her and his inclination is the pattern of her being. Her and his inclination of this, awareness of source, or whatever way you look at religion or this yoga or whatever. The devotion of each man and woman is agreement with her inner or his inner nature. Her inclination is the pattern of her being, his being. Whatever his and her faith is, that verily is her and him. Whatever your faith is. So that means if there's no faith in the picture, in your understanding, in your awareness, faith, full attention in the heart, I like to say, full Faith. We got to have full blown faith. We got to get back into our heart. So if you're not in your heart, you're more than likely in your head. And if you're in your head, you're not in your heart. Okay? So Yogananda's little commentary here for those two verses are: Krishna instructs Arjuna. Krishna instructs Narayan, Mary, Lisa, Jim, Alex, Denny, and VHOSF. I don't know who you are. But blessings and thank you for being here. However you got here, but I don't know if I know who you are. But even better, I do know who you are. You are spirit. You are spirit soul. We're all the same. It's Vinny. Okay. Okay, Vinny, there you go, buddy. Good to hear from you. I've been thinking of you recently, man. Hope the holidays have been really empowering for you and your family and everything that is a dream of God and of truth and of light and of peace and of harmony and of unceasing love for everyone. Everything is your abundance in this moment and in this end of this year and in the next year. How's that, Vinny? I should have figured that out. But anyway, good to know you're here, Vinny. My cousin Vinny. So Krishna instructs Arjuna that whether or not a man lives by the precepts of righteousness, whether or not you're a good girl, you're a good boy, you're a bad girl, bad boy, something in between, whether whatever those precepts are that you think that you are, is determined by your natural bent, by that nature, that inner, that innate nature. And I'm not talking about the spirit so much as what happens when you're embodied in a human and you think that you're a human and you think that you're an independent entity from the oneness, from the unity, right? Yeah, whether or not man lives and woman lives by precepts of righteousness is determined by your natural bent. So, what's your natural bent? Your inmost being, your inmost being, you know what your natural bent is, Benny? Is your inmost being as formed by all your actions of past lives. But that's a heck of a load. We don't even want to know. You're going to say you don't even want to know what your past lives are. And Sri Yukteswar said all men and women's past lives are filled with the deepest, darkest shames. So we don't want to know, right? But our inmost being and that which affects us the most in being human is formed by all the actions of our past lives. These three gunas, these three gunas. So that brings us to verse 4. And this is where it gets very, very interesting. Do you want to hear the verse? Page 989, if your book is open. Krishna says, the sattvic, that's the spiritual, my dears. That's what we're looking for. The sattvic. The sattvic, or good men and women, worship the devas, or the divinities, embodiments of spiritual qualities. So that is what the Shraddha represents. The Shraddha and the conviction of faith represents. That's what we looked at last week. And it's so important. And our stream was on that last week. Is that sattvic, or you want to be a good man and a good woman? The world needs a lot of good men and a good woman. Sattvic or good men and women worship the devas, divinities, embodiments of spiritual qualities. So there is what would be the top worship, the top focus, the top practice, the top of everything. We're sitting on top of the world if we're in the sattva worship of the devas or divinities, embodiments of spiritual qualities. Are you kidding me? But I want to, Yogananda then makes a reference to go to page 70 of your volume 1, which I did. And I have it out right here because I want to read a little bit about it's a pandu. It's a pandu. It's not the other. It's not the other. The battle between the Pandus and the bad guys, the Kurus and the Pandus. But this is a Pandu that he talks about on page 54 of chapter 1 that talks a lot about the Shraddha. Yeah. Yeah. So can I read you this? This is what he says on page 54 in case you want to go back to your volume one if you have it. Until the devotee is strongly established in her or his spiritual life, she and he must first confront their bad habits. Shunning these, he will suddenly find that the cherished sovereign freedom is still not wholly free, but imprisoned by heretofore latent samskaras. You know what those are, latent habit tendencies that just stay buried and we don't know about it, and then they pop up, they sprout when we least expect, and we go, why am I feeling this way? Type of thing. But imprisoned heretofore latent samskaras that bind her and his discriminative free will. The devotee sees that her and his spiritual ardor, I love that word. The devotee sees that her and his spiritual ardor can rule effectively that half of the bodily kingdom connected with the material inclined senses, or the southern portion, or lower spinal centers, which govern the sensory activities. Those lower centers, which govern the sensory activities of the physical bodily kingdom. But habit, with its compelling tendencies and impulses, still holds in thraldom the realm of pure discrimination. The determined devotee, and that's all of you, rouses her spiritual ardor with the resolution to liberate the soul from all bondage. Her deep, her deep spiritual ardor, her deep devotion keeps him or her an offspring, a son, which is the truth revealing light and power of awakening into intuition. And that deep devotion, my dears, is Shraddha. The Pandu is Yujudana. Yujudana. Yeah, Yujudana. I don't even want to begin to try to describe that to you. Did I go to the right page? Anyway, the Shraddha or the devotion is huge. It's a Pandu, one of the chief Pandus that lead the Pandus into victory over these past tendencies and all of the lifetimes of bad habits that still hang out as some scaras. All right. So that's what I wanted to read to you this morning from the volume one. Yeah, that's what I thought I had, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to read. All right. But anyway, let's get back to our study. Let's get back to our study. So breathe, my dears. Breathe in your quiet center because here we go. We want to be sattvic. Basically, we want to be sattvic, 100% sattvic. All right. So we can worship the devas, divinities, embodiments of spiritual qualities. And we want to have that ardor. We want to be, Shraddha. Shraddha is a beautiful word. We want to have that unceasing devotion and that dedication and faith. Devotion and faith is Shraddha. If you want to stay sattvic, if you want to stay with just those high vibrations as a human could possibly have, all right? Stay high, don't let yourself down, I often say. So let's look at the rajas. Rajasic or worldly, that's just the worldly bent of people. just our worldliness, right? And still believing in the in some pleasures of this world and blah 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 blah. And that's fine and dandy, right? Because we're going to learn eventually. And that doesn't take away the fact that God is you and God is experiencing those things with you. So let's let off the, the guilt and the shame or whatever else that we're considering, and know that we're nothing happens to us. It's all spirit. It's all spirit, my dears. But Rajasic, and this is all about what you're choosing to worship. This chapter, Rajasic or worldly, passionate men and women worship. You know who you worship? So the Sattvic worships those deities, divinities, embodiments of spiritual qualities. But here we go as the typical worldly person. Rajasic or worldly passionate men and women worship the yakshas. And you know who the yakshas are? Guardian spirits of wealth. You know, they're spirits of everything in this three worlds that we live in. The dark, the Rajasic, and the Sattvic. There's all kinds of entities. So Rajasic or worldly passionate people, whether they know it or not, worship the guardians of the spirits of wealth. And the Rakshasas are astral world demons and giants of great power and aggression. So we don't know who we're worshiping, but when we get all passionate, all heated up, maybe negative a little bit here and there, maybe thinking something's really gone wrong and you're upset and all that, you don't you're worshiping. You're worshiping that upset. You're worshiping that anger. You're worshiping that negative thought, right? You're worshiping it. Now, the tamasic, the dark or dull, ignorant men and women worship the pretas, Pretas. Now, you want to probably really stay away from those spirits. The pretas are spirits of the dead, and they worship the bhutas, Bhutas, ghosts and elemental beings. These are all the inhabitants of the lower vibrational realms, my dears. And there's just packed, everything's packed in this universe, from this material realm to the astral realm to the causal realm. Causal is where you're going to find the sattvic. The astral, you're going to see. You got to be careful. You think being in the astral world is going to give you all the everything like your supreme spiritual desires. No, not necessarily. All right, so let's see. Yogananda is really, really, really adamant about what you're going to be hearing right now. All right. So each person, Narayan, Mary, Alex, Lisa, Jim, Denny, and Venny, each person shows by her life, by his life, by the inescapable expression of her nature. It's expressing and you don't know it. But if you have a negative thought, you are worshiping the negative. You are worshiping either on that Rajasic plane of existence, the yakshas, the guardians of spirits of wealth. So there's greed of the Rakshasas, the astral world demons and giants of great power and aggression, right? Get ahead. You want the best team. You want to beat the other guys. That all that kind of stuff. You'll be worshiping that. And then the tamasic or dull, ignorant women and men worship the pretas, spirits of the dead, and bhutas, ghosts and elemental beings. Each person shows by her life. So just kind of breathe and just take a picture of your life right now, of where you're at right now. How about, you just had Christmas celebrating Christ consciousness, and you may be meditated a little longer. Some of you may have gone through part of the long meditation, doesn't matter. But just take a snapshot of your inner nature that is the one that comes from all your past lives. Just take a snapshot and then see where you're at. This is a snapshot of where you are at today. Doesn't matter how you were yesterday. It doesn't matter how you were when you woke up this morning. You have all the power in the universe to choose to be in a beautiful sattvic state of mind, my dears, right here, right now. And that matters. That's what matters. That can change the whole course of your life if you just go from that stream we did the other day in the sacred soul meditation, where they're talking about in this present moment, it is a doorway to the essence and truth of life, and to the doorway. It's a doorway, this present moment, to God. You make the right choice right now, and you're in a higher state. And then in the next moment, the next breath, same thing. So just right now, take a snapshot of the most beautiful you, okay? And put it on your mirror at home and see and really be a seer. See yourself with those eyes, not yours, as God eyes. See your face as a God face. You know, what about seeing others as hearts? Hearts, Queen of Hearts or King of Hearts, as God. Hearts. We're not humans, we're hearts, we're souls. So, when you think that you're talking to the heart of God in somebody and you're rattling off all this baloney, it's kind of not, does not really fit the scenario that I think we want to live by. Okay. Tamasic or dull, ignorant men and women worship the Pretas, spirits of dead, and the Bhutas, ghosts, and elemental beings. Each person shows by her light, his light, by the inescapable expression of her nature. Inescapable. You cannot escape that nature. All you can do is transform it and alchemize it. If it's not the nature you want, if you still have the blues, if you're still questioning things, if you're still criticizing things, if you're still looking out at the world and questioning things, right? So it's an inescapable expression of our nature, that which, if you take that snapshot, whatever you came up with, it's inescapable for now, but you have the transforming power of your soul to take care of business. What type of man she and he is, and what type of unseen power she and he consciously or unconsciously attracts to herself. This is divine science, my dears, the science of yoga, right? But Yogananda said that greater than mastery over the whole science of yoga is your personal shraddha, your ardor, your devotion. Tivra Samvega is one of the highest qualities Patanjali says that we can possess. What is Tivra Samvega? It's very much like Shraddha, and this devotion and faith, conviction. It's very much Tivra Samvega is where you're only yearning for that highest, the highest, the highest, the highest sattva, right? And it's a complete letting go, leaving behind the rest of it. Just like get high, don't let yourself down. Stay high. Don't let yourself down. All right. This is the new year. 2026 is a year of stay high. Don't let yourself down. Surround yourself with people of equal awareness and compassion and all that stuff. You got to sort now. You got to be a sorter. You have to sort out now, right? The end of the year of the snake, let's shed. We still got a few days to sort it out, my dears, and leave all the rest of it behind and have only, as you get older, you lose a little physical energy, but you gain in the fact that you get dependent if you know what the best approach is when you're getting into ages to become a sage, right? A sage during your older age, that you depend 100% on that divine being called God, that divine essence called God, and you never let your mind wander. That'll do it. So each person shows by her life, by the inescapable expression of her nature, what type of person she is and what type of unseen power she consciously or unconsciously attracts to herself. So take all the guessing out of it. Take all of the, well, really, am I attracting that? And just be aware. Just be aware of this moment and have a glorious moment. Be in the loving presence in this moment. How can you lose? You will gain right now. You'll change the whole trajectory of the rest of your days, my dears. If we take this to heart, what we're talking about this morning, you'll be a Yuyudana, you'll be Shraddha in action, right? Someone who has the ardor, that divine ardor. So Tivran Sabvega is that divine ardor that leaves this world behind and wants only one goal, and that is that oneness with who you truly are and oneness with spirit. A person's religion, so-called religion, this is why religion is not necessarily the end all, is demonstrated not by his formal worship. You could say you're a yogi, you could say you go to yoga, you can do all that. But who you really are is not that. A person's religion is demonstrated not by how many yoga classes she's taken, so to speak, not by her formal worship, but by her and his nature. The one that's still kind of, got edges, like a little, your diamond soul, but it's uncut, it's unpolished, right? And we got to let this good old, you know, polishing, polishing up of our true, beautiful light nature, you know, be the foremost focus for 2026 and the end of this year, just a few days away. So a person's religion has nothing to do with it. Most men and women are not pure types. So most men and women on this planet are not pure types. In other words, they're not sattvic. However, at various times they display the guna quality of sattva or rajas or tamas at various points. But a person's life as a whole is marked by the predominance of one guna. Usually there's just one. You're worshiping just one guna over and over and over again, right? You would be worshiping your little self. You could be worshiping, you know, those thoughts that make people wrong and you're right, right? Or you're bummed out and it's a family thing from way back and you're still kind of complaining about it, that's why you're the way you are, right? The whole person's life as a whole is marked by the predominance of one guna, which indicates the stage of her and his spiritual evolution. All right? Be, be real, man and woman. Be real. Be real. It's time to get really real. And just smile. Smile at the goblins of the past. Smile that you still fall back into old stuff, that you completely blow it, let's say, right? Forget it. You got this moment to come back to. You got this moment to be in Shraddha, the heart's natural love. You have this moment to change it all around. Remember, God will change things in an instant when you can change things in an instant, no matter what you've done, no matter what you're thinking, no matter what someone says. Okay? Therefore, Sri Krishna said, whatever a man and woman's faith is, that verily is he and she. What is your faith? What is your faith? What do you believe in? Or are we still caught up in the toy show of this world? Yogananda says, stop watching the toy show of this world. And be in the candy store, but don't touch the candy, he also said. Those are my kind of my favorite quotes of his, right? Stop watching the toy show of this world and be in the candy store, but don't touch the candy. That means be in this world, but not of it. So therefore, Krishna says, whatever a man and woman's faith is, that verily is her and him. All persons live according to the law of their nature. So these are the gunas again, because they're influencing us. If we're going to have a dark side, medium dark side, an active side, yeah, I still want to make some money. I want to make sure I have enough money for retirement. I want to but what does that have to do with the ardor? What does that have to do? You be abundant. I mean, success and joy. My Father and I are one. The riches of this earth and the wealth of the universe belongs to thee and belongs to me. My Father and I are one. My Father and I. One of Yogananda's beautiful prayers. One of his beautiful prayers. Success and joy, my Father and I are one. The riches of this earth, the wealth of the universe belongs to thee, belongs to me. My Father and I are one. Done. All right? So all persons live according to the law of their nature, and thus are devotees of one of the three paths. You're a devotee, all right, either of a dark moment or a rajas, kind of just all about me moment, or a moment where you're relatively really clean and innocent and you're sincere and you really mean what you say and say what you mean, and you are just the pure sattva. Three paths we have to worship by. The wise, the sattvic man, the sattvic woman patterns her life, his life, after the celestial design. Man, you're gonna hear coming up here, whether it's today or our next stream next week, that man, that those realms of the yakshas and the rakshasas and the Pritas and the Bhutas, you know, uh, they couldn't even make a movie of this, I don't think. But boy, what a movie this real, unreal life is. The wise sattvic man, woman pattern her in his life after the celestial design. Go, girl, go, guy. Celestial. Stay high. Don't let yourself down. After the celestial design. And knowingly or unknowingly, here's what happens. If you want to go high and stay high and not let yourself down, knowingly or unknowingly, you will receive help. This is a quote from the Bhagavad Gita, because Yogananda is talking right now. If you pattern your life after the celestial design, my dears, and knowingly or unknowingly, you will receive help from the deities to whom God has entrusted his highest functions of the phenomenal worlds. Do you need a little help? Just, just be true. And you will find that you cannot be false to anyone, starting with yourself. Be true as the sun comes up and the night follows day and all that kind of stuff. You will receive help if you pattern your life after the celestial design. You'll receive help from the deities to whom God has entrusted the highest functions of the phenomenal worlds. The Rajasic. So if you go Rajasic, if you still worry about money, greed, getting ahead in life, just plain restlessness, the Rajasic or worldly passionate man and woman aspiring to wealth and power, those are those giants that are in that astral realm, the Rajas, the Yakshas, the Rakshasas, Now that's not as bad, of course, as the dark realm. But anyway, the Rajasic or worldly passionate man, woman aspiring to wealth and power is knowingly or unknowingly adoring. It's like the Hobbit and that ring of power, right? And that little munchkin, whatever, that the one that stole the ring. And anyway, and he kept calling it my precious, my precious, my precious. It's the same thing with what you're worshiping, unknowingly or knowingly. If you're adoring yakshas and rakshasas, cosmic, you know what they are? If you're just being just still mostly human, this is why this year is so important. We gotta get radical, man. We gotta get really radical. We cannot afford to enter this 5D and help the world in this 5D and still hang on to these embodiments of greed, ruthless strength, and egotistic ambition. Wow. Because you'll be adoring those yakshas and rakshasas, which are greed, ruthless strength, and egotistic ambition. But listen, the tamasic or ignorant man or woman, and we go ignorant when we're not thinking of the truth, when we're not in the truth. We're ignorant. Ignoring. What is ignorance? Ignoring the present moment, ignoring the presence, the divine presence in this present moment, right? Anytime the mind goes to anything other than that God is everything, everyone, everywhere. He's with me now. It's he's moving me. He's talking through me. He's everything. He's everything. So we want to be, why not be undividedly devoted? Why not? Why not? Do you have anything better to do? So the tamasic or ignorant man, knowingly or unknowingly, offers homage, my precious, to the pritas, spirits of the dead, spirits of the dead, and the bhutas, various types of ghosts and spirits. Wow, it's like a movie, dark side movie, right? You're going to be worshiping ghosts and spirits by sloth, stupidity, sloth. I'm sure we all have still some sloth moments in our lives. Stupidity, probably, more than likely. Sense attachment, oh yeah. And superstitious reliance on outside forces. On outside forces. How many massage therapists do you have? How many of the chiropractor? How many get sick or something? You go to your functional doctor. Whatever. Superstitious reliance on out, like someone's going to help you, right? What about going to God first and then go to them? Why not believing that God is using them to help you in your little situation? Anyway, by sloth, stupidity, sense attachment, and superstitious reliance on outside forces, in the hope, you know what it is? You know why you do that? You're avoiding self effort. You're ignoring God and all that help that you get when you take the high road. Stay high and not let yourself down. You go to outside forces in the hope of avoiding self effort. Yogananda just does not mess around. Such a person fails to rise to her full stature. For us to have another incarnation and be on this GITA stream and where we are in our life and everything and hearing all this wisdom, boy, we've certainly done something right. We certainly have earned something amazing beyond what we think amazing is, right? But if we rely too much on these outward forces, on what someone says and all this kind of stuff, Believe in the power of your soul. Believe in God as essence within you. You cannot be sick. Disbelieve in the reality of sickness, says Sri Yukteswar, and an unrecognized visitor will flee. Disbelieve in the reality of sickness, and an unrecognized visitor will flee. We're talking power yoga now in this new chapter of our lives, 2026. Power yoga. Yeah, which is gentle yoga, probably. Yeah. Anyway, let's just finish up this little sentence because it's a doozy, right? This whole thing is a doozy. By sloth, stupidity, sense attachment, and superstitious reliance on outside forces in the hope of avoiding self effort, such a person fails to rise to her full stature. We need to rise to our full stature as a human being and becomes enslaved to disintegrating forces beyond her comprehension and controlled slavery. To disintegrating forces beyond her, his comprehension and control. All right. So breathe, my dears. I will have that Shraddha. I don't know. I had it all marked, and the marker must have left my page on the old volume one, but I'll get it. Yogananda is not sugarcoating on this page. No, he's not. He never sugarcoats. Anyone in reality don't sugarcoat. No, that's only for these people who just are growing in another way. And they're transforming in another way. The sugarcoat, the sugarcoat book of life, right? How many lifetimes have we had those? Anyway, so I'm going to stop there. Okay, well, yeah. So anyway, the Yogananda wraps. Maybe I'll just wrap it with this, okay? So I can get ready to go to the sacred soul meditation. This stanza that we just read to you, my dear, points out that the lowest path means devotion to the spirits of the dead. The lowest path is devotion to the spirits of the dead. In general, these words indicate the stultification of the tamas, stultified, through which a man and woman's life is a kind of death. Those who are given over to debasing habits and dullness and despair, who ignore all the inexhaustible, imagine ignoring in ignorance of the inexhaustible resources of the soul. Go to the soul, go to God first, during, and after. Are worshippers of the darkest qualities, the spirits of the dead. I leave you on a high note. Not to bring you fright, not to have you be like, wow, I'm a mess. No, just because you are ready, my dears, for the most fantastic, transformative rest of your days, life ever. Let's do this thing. This GITA, 8 years, it's just been a warm up. It's just been the first round. All right. So thank you so much for your bravery, as I mentioned before, your luminosity, your amazing ability to just receive the raw truth, not sugar, just raw, organic, you know, and not be taking it personally, but taking it like a soul, right? It's water off a soul's back, right? It's life can be water off a soul's back, like it just comes off the duck's back. All right. Having said all that, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. It's a new day, a new life, new beginning, my dear. Breathe in, breathe out. Don't cut yourself short now. Breathe in, breathe out. You're too valuable in, and you are already everything you want in that, whatever it is you're seeking outwardly. Breathe in, breathe out. God is us, source are us. And that is that. Have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Tuesday. Aho. Namaste. Thanks, everybody, for jumping on. The Gita Express to the infinite unmanifest. Aho.